We need a name for the brand new mascot of the Showboats. We've also got possible USFL championship rings coming, and a brand new guest for Spring Stock will be announced today on episode 52 of the USFL podcast, which starts right now.
1, 2, 3.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new USFL podcast. It's episode 52 of this wonderful show, bringing you all things from around the United States Football League. I am Zach Kyleman, sitting in. It is my turn to host this week as I bring, of course, my good buddy, pal, cohort, the co-pilot in the other chair on one side of the screen. It is, of course, the ref himself welcoming you aboard. Good to see you, my friend. We are in single digits until we hit the first game of the USFL season in Memphis, Tennessee, which we're going to talk in this show. By the way, the Showboats are starting to see their fans show out. We're going to be talking, but hey, how are you doing, my friend? Less than 10 days until we get Spring Stock,
man,
part 2.
I'm feeling pretty damn good. It's a good week. It's a great week, but still not the best week ever because, like you said, Zach, we have a week away until it's just a 12-week stretch of the best weeks of our lives, at least until season 3. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great, and I'm feeling excited. Again, the season's right around the corner. Spring Stock's around the corner, and we got a whole bunch of good news to talk about, and I'm just glad y'all are here to join us. That's all I can say. Puts a tear in my eye, but here we are.
It's good. Yeah. Thank you guys, by the way, for tuning in these last several episodes, even just kind of spinning up the process here. It's great to know that we're seeing a lot more people kind of getting invigorated for the next season of the USFL. And there's been a lot of good content coming on out of the league, of course, as we've said in recent weeks, and some new news bits. Of course, some people probably wondering about rosters and such. We're going to get more of those as we go along. But we got a bit more news, as we were hinting at, coming in that we're going to talk and focus a little more on today. So hang on to your seat. We're going to get there, but we got to get over the intangibles. First things first, social media. Hey, guys, do you know that we have a bunch of social accounts across 4 different main platforms? At USFL Podcast will get you any of the big ones you need: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and especially that TikTok. Here's the thing. We are going to be posting a lot for the week of Spring Stock. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff in Birmingham, Alabama, and in Memphis, Tennessee over the course of roughly a week, actually. So if you want to keep up with us and you want to see what's going down on the ground, you might want to head on over, slap that follow button on TikTok at USFL Podcast to kind of follow along. We'll post everywhere else. Obviously, we're on Twitter quite a bit, Facebook, Instagram too. Follow on all of those, but you definitely want to follow that TikTok if you want to see some of the latest videos when we do Spring Stock as well. And use hashtag Spring Stock leading up into this week, especially if we're going to be posting content, we're going to be live. We want to see your stuff, your reactions, and your bits about the USFL and your excitement for the league ahead. Speaking of follows and subscriptions, follow us and subscribe to us on this YouTube page. If you're a podcast listener, check out the videos or subscribe, of course, on your favorite podcast platform of choice. Either way, if you're on this video right now and you're a new subscriber, or if you're someone that subscribed but you didn't do the other thing we like to say, well then, hit that red button and click the bell. It builds morale, not only for you, but for us too. We feel great about it when we see new folks joining up for episodes as well, because we also can have one step closer to giving away a customized USFL jersey. We're still holding on. We are going to get to that 5K amount, and one of you folks out there is going to get your very own USFL jersey, hopefully a 2.0 version this season that you can get if we get to that 5K amount, and we hope to get to that point sooner rather than later. You just got to hit that big red button. Finally, Breaking Tea. You guys like merch? Breaking Tea makes some great official USFL merch. Use code room USFL Newsroom when you check out. 10% off your order, and you support the show and efforts for our guys over at the USFL Newsroom website to bring you the best in news coverage. I think I did pretty well.
I think you did
got
good.
it all
I think
pretty
you
sorted.
did good. You hit all the buttons. I mean, just like everybody else is going to click the buttons, click the bells, get the morels. And the thing is, I mean, you click the button, you click the bell, you get the morale, but it also lets you know when we're going to be live, which, Zach, we know what's coming up. Our next, well, I don't even know if it's our next live event because we're going to be, I think you teed it up. We're getting into Birmingham. Well, I'm getting there a little bit earlier on April 12th, but you can expect probably some type of content, whether it's on Twitter or the TikTok or the YouTube. We're going to be like out on the scene. I mean, hell or high water, we're going to be trying to get into that, a little bit of training camp right before the season kicks off. I mean, no promises, but you know what? The ref shirt,
he's already got a quick access. If there's a scrimmage between defense and offense, he's got to just play the part a little, guys. He can do it.
Zach,
I know he can do it.
Here's how I'll say this just because I want everyone to know. I will not do this. But I absolutely could.
USFL, we promise you we're not going to invade one of your practices and do that. That would
not without permission, at least. I mean, we'll invade
full disclosure
it.
in reality.
But I mean, I was at the XFL game and I went to get a press pass, and I was wearing my ref shirt because why wouldn't I, right? Getting a press pass with my ref shirt.
Of course.
And the lady said, "Oh, just let him through. He's the official." And I was like, "For real, guys? For real?" Like, no, I'm not. I'm wearing, I had like a red shirt under it. Like it was, and a hat. And anyway, so that made me aware of, like, I knew that, there was a guy back in the day that had a YouTube channel in like the early days of YouTube. And he would just wear like an orange vest and go places and do things. Like he went to the Detroit police station and put a ladder up against the building and started acting like he was taking down the sign. And nobody questioned him because he had an orange vest on. They just assumed he was paid to do it. He's there for a reason. And he would do all sorts of wacky things. And I've learned that the ref shirt is apparently one of those. So
it's amazing where confidence can get you in some situations.
I know. Well, and that wasn't even what I was there for. But now that we're talking about ref shirts, come on, guys, just throw it on the shop. We're getting ever so close to the USFL season, less than 10 days away. I will spend my money so fast. You can charge whatever you want. Just know that. I will buy it. Zach, but how about you tell them about spring stock? We're getting off topic here.
Yes, I very much will tell you guys about spring stock. And yes, you guys are maybe going, yeah, we got all the details. Well, hey, we promised in the teaser, we got a new guest. We got a local guest, by the way. Someone that you folks in Birmingham may watch on the local news every now and then. It is good. It is one of the guys from WBRC Fox 6. He is a sports features multimedia journalist himself. Jake Stanzel will be joining us during spring stock, and that might not be it. Like I said, we are continuously working on seeing and building out this show. We're going to give you a few more details on the rundown. One thing I will say for certain, we're going to give our season thoughts and predictions for both divisions in the final hour of spring stock during that show. So leading up into the game against the Showboats, while we are there from 12 to 3, you're going to be seeing us give our thoughts on that and predictions for week 1. So stay tuned for that without a doubt. But hey, trust me, we're going to be loading up the show like we always do, and it's going to be a bash at the bar over at Casey Sports Bar as well over on the south side of Protective Stadium. So you definitely want to be there. Also the grudge game, which of course the Panthers will win very much so handedly. You'll want to go and check that out with myself and of course the guy who's buying me dinner. Come and have a tailgate with us because we'll get some food from me and then maybe follow us over to where we're going, and then you can see him pay for my dinner, and that will be just a fun time. A lot of people getting some photos in. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
You better hope the McRib is back on the menu, because if I lose, that's where we're getting barbecue, buddy. Now, let's not skip over day one here real quick. Now that we've talked some fiction, let's get back to reality here. Day one. So we mentioned the new guest. Let's just remind people. let's just remind people who we got. So we also have Luke Miller from the newsroom crew, our on-the-scene Stallion guy. They're going to be dropping all the latest. We got community legend Ducky. You know you want to see him. You know you want to meet him. I bet he's going to try to jack our style with his own trading card again this year. And I'm not going to lie, I want one. I still have it right here. This is so I talk trash. My Ducky trading card never goes too far from me. But
video content for you podcast listeners, by the way. It's a good card. I didn't get one. He still has been feeling guilty about that. So I will be getting a season 2 variant. It sounds like.
As you should. Now, don't forget, I don't have yours handy, Zach. I'm a bad co-host. How do I have Ducky's card and not yours? But anyway, I swear I did. I don't know what happened to it. But
one's a community legend. The other's just apparently your buddy
I just
on your
look
show.
at myself. I just look at myself staring back at me. But you guys can get one of these and one of Zach. Instant success. So again, hey, maybe that's part of the surprise. You're going to have to wait to spring stock if you haven't seen it already. But truth be told, I'll probably tease it over on social media. I always say if it's free, it's me. But you know what, Zach? I mean, I'm not going to steal all the thunder here. We got 2 other confirmed guests. Beyond the ones, I'm telling you, we're going to have some more from the hub. But who are the big boys here? Who do we got on the confirmed guests?
If you're tuning in for the first time, or if you haven't heard, we're going to have Jamar Smith, quarterback of the Birmingham Stallions, himself joining the show in the first hour, along with Bo Scarborough, the Alabama legend himself, the Stallions now legend himself, joining us both in the first hour of the show. Again, you got to get there right at the beginning, especially, look, if you're an Alabama fan, you can't miss out. If you're a fan of Stallions, you can't miss out. This is when you want to be there. Noon Central at Casey Sports Bar for that. Again, we're also going to have the community legend himself, Ducky, there, Luke Miller. You know, you're going to now have Jake Stanzel. If you're a local journalism reporter guy, you're going to love having him there. And again, the guest list isn't finished yet. We're still putting people in as we come into the twilight hours of spring stock. So please check it out. Again, we'll be putting up the link for that live stream here coming pretty soon. So
probably in the next day. Probably by the time this episode comes out, I would say there's going to be a link that you can add. I'm just waiting on a little bit of confirmation on a couple things so I can finish the thumbnail, which is sweet. Now, hey, if you're coming out to the show, one other thing that we got, I wish the place had them ready so I could show them off, but we will be able to show them off. We're going to have spring stock shirts, spring stock 2, baby. You're going to want to get them while they're hot. They're $20, but no, it helps us do more of these shows. These shows aren't cheap, man. My wallet, it's a lot lighter than it was before setting up this show. And if you're coming out, you can support us by picking up a shirt at the event. And hey, we talked about the good times. We talked about the good guests, but we're also going to have giveaways, and we're going to save that one until the day of the show.
Absolutely.
So we're also going to have giveaways in person and online, so you're not going to want to miss out on either.
Yep. Stay tuned, folks. That's all we can say. And we'll keep reminding you as we will. Spring stock, like I said, this is our one of two-part shebang as we do for the season. So stick with it, guys. You're going to want to stay tuned and subscribe to us too to stay tuned as well for, of course, that live stream. All right, let's kick things into gear. First things first. Look, the Showboats are kind of right now the talk of the town this past week. Things have been not spiraling. Sorry, that's a wrong phrase. They have been, I would say, full steam ahead. You know,
I like that. Yeah.
We talk about a few things going on. First off, ticket sales, they are surging, people. If you're a Showboats fan on the show, we see a few of you in the comments. We know you guys tune in on the weekly basis ever since they've come back, and that fan base, you know, they obviously have held on. You know, head of ticket sales and services himself, Brett Zaleski, he was in Memphis this week, and there's still people that hold on to the 80s merch of the Showboats. And as they can see in the marketing, they're very much showing off that passion for the city's old days back in the 80s now for the Showboats. The return that's been 40 years in the making, as they've been saying. And boy, the tickets have really picked up in recent days. We might be seeing, and some people have hinted at this, a rowdy crowd at at Simons Bank Liberty Stadium come April 15th. And I mean, we're talking like, I would say within the last few days or so, we've been following tickets. Me and the ref here, we do it as a side hobby. We track Ticketmaster. We have a little fun seeing how things are progressing. When we watch 3 massive sections of a stadium sell out in a matter of 12 hours, it's kind of an eyeball pop that we have to talk about on the show. So Showboats fans, well, they're showing out. I got to ask you, my friend, what are you ballparking that is going to be the attendance for this thing? Because, it's kind of exploded. I've been following. It's been selling, but like 3 of the upper sections in that side of the bowl now have just been like gone.
Right. Yeah. No.
And now it's like, okay, how big are we talking with this crowd now?
I'm not a numbers guy. I'm not going to go and throw out a number, but what I'm going to say is when you look at this on TV, it's going to be packed, right? Now they're not selling every section of the stadium, but I don't think they need to, right? We talked about this last year we see this with other leagues too. I mean, we've seen this. Let's not forget the first Super Bowl, they moved everybody to one side of the stadium, right? You kind of have to start somewhere. But this, I would have to say, has to be very promising for the league, right? As they're looking through. We've already seen, and thanks to the captain from USFL Network for kind of pointing this one out, and you mentioned, they've opened up some of the upper decks, and they're moving. They are selling. They're good to go. And, I think we've always kind of felt that the Showboats were kind of going to be a big deal. There was always like a big built-in fan base right from the beginning when they announced the return. And I mean, thanks to Brett Zaleski, I mean, he's hitting the pavement. He is in all of these cities putting in the work, and it seems to be paying dividends, right? We talked about the guys out there having the boat bash over the weekend, right? They have a huge Facebook group. The Showboats pages across social media are gaining a lot of followers just every day. And now we're kind of seeing it come to fruition. Now it makes sense. Again, the South loves football, right? I live in Texas. I know just firsthand knowledge, Texans love football, but it's not just Texas. It is the South. And Memphis, if your geography is not so great, I'll remind everybody, is in the South. Tickets are selling well. I would be afraid to be any team having to play against the Showboats in the first game, second game, whatever game it is, in Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. I got that right. Yes, I got that right. I always have to check myself that I said the right thing.
That's the official name. Like I said, I've called it the Liberty Bowl. It used to be called the Liberty Bowl, and they changed the naming a little bit based on the sponsor. But funny thing, depending on, like I said, the longevity of the league. Say they, like I said, they keep on supporting Memphis, and we hope, of course, we want that future to continue. People bring up because they're, a lot of you folks that are Memphians out there. That have shown things on Facebook about like the future of the Liberty Bowl itself. There's renovations coming to this like high tech new reno coming in, at least starting breaking ground, I think, in the next few years,
right,
for the league. And of course, it's focused towards the Tigers. That's the main tenet. But like, they're taking basically the bowl and they're like making it futuristically modern, bunch of new lighting, bunch of new suite seats, and they're keeping that bowl shape, which. Really, it's one of the most unique stadiums, I think, in the country because of the fact that it is very much it's very much more elongated.
Right.
There's no even roundness to it. It was very much built to have these rising, cascading sides, and then just kind of the small edges to the end zones, like designed to feel more like a deep Coliseum.
Sure.
Feel.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to go to it because it has a lot of history there, but also it's a very unique place to go play football.
Sure. Yeah.
Very, very much so.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. It's a shame that we're not going to be out there for the Showboats game, but I'm going to be excited when we're out there the second day when I get to watch my team put up like 60, 70 points. I don't know how many points your team will put up, maybe like 16. I'll give you 16. 70 to 16. That sounds like a good gambler's all-in start to our 12-0 all-in season.
It wasn't going to be perfect forever. I knew I was going to slip up. It always happens. I eventually slip up. I'm just glad I got the first jab in today, because like recent weeks has not been the case. So thank God I'm catching on. Nonetheless, after we get a win, it's going to feel so good. Nonetheless, the Showboats, like I said, it's been kind of their week. If you're like a community member, like if you've been following along in the USFL, you know, again, they've been getting like tickets have been kind of going bonkers. But one thing that's legit more big news, like what's more present, I would say, is that, hey, there's a new mascot in town. He needs a name though. There's no official name to this guy, but we have a new mascot in the USFL. We knew it was coming up. The captain himself over there at the USFL network found kind of the patents for, or I guess the IPs, if you will, trademarks for the guy, the designs early-ish on. Obviously, we got to speculate, make sure things are safe. Things can change. And sure enough, we have it. You know, it's a dog.
It's a little puppy.
Costume.
It's a little sailor puppy. I'll tell you, I don't know why, and it doesn't really tie into anything. It feels like a muddy to me. I don't know. I have this thing about dogs. I can look at a dog, say, you know what? I think that's what the dog's name is. Sometimes I'm right. It feels like a muddy. Why?
Yeah.
I don't know. Memphis Muddy starts with M. Seems like a dog's name.
Someone brought up that it could be a hound dog.
Sure.
Elvis references, you know, for that area, Graceland, if you will. But hey, here's the deal. As we've seen last year, new mascot means that the fans get to pick the name. That's how the league's been rolling. And some have come in. I got to list a few off here. One of them's the family angles, and I've seen a few people mention this too. My dad wants McGruff. Catching on. McGruff the crime dog. So he wants that. I've seen Skipper. I've seen Elvis references in a few veins as well. I think one of them is like something like Mud Dog or whatever, like you're talking. But I mean, plethora it's up to the community, obviously, but we won't really fully know until we get the legit social votes coming up here pretty soon. It's going to come here either by the time we're done with this show, you might know already, but, a few good options. I actually don't mind Skipper just because it's, you know, it's boat based.
Right. Yeah.
You know, it doesn't stick to the ocean. The thing is though, like the Showboats, it's a river boat. So you can also think about that type of Delta, like Mississippi River culture,
right,
if you will.
Right.
I haven't seen any blues references that I can tell. I've seen Elvis, not too many other music references though. So I've been kind of surprised by that.
Right. Well, I'm excited to see it. I'm glad that we finally got the new mascot. We had teed it up earlier in the year with the speculation zone. Will they, won't they get a mascot? Well, boy, they. And it's nice to say, hey, look, now it's another like different one. It's not just a person, right? We have the blob. Now we have a little puppy, and sign me up. And you know, it's damn cute. You know, I want to go scratch it behind the ear a little bit. And maybe we will at day 2 of spring stock. Maybe he'll give me the good luck that I need to get some free barbecue. And you know what? I'll throw him a bone after it.
Oh, you will?
Yeah. See, maybe that's how I win. See, league guys, I'm not running out on the field in a ref shirt, but I may or may not pay off the mascot to like go bite one of the players. And people on TV will say, isn't that the Memphis Showboats mascot? What's he doing in the Panthers Gamblers game? And you're going to see me on the side.
Well, good news is that it's not the Showboats playing, because yes, you can argue that maybe dogs chase cats, but you know, it's a Panther that's going to be mauling a guy with a card and gambling problem apparently,
and a pistol, a side shooter. See, Zach, you
allegedly a pistol.
You thought my question was silly, but here we are a year later. Which mascot, like if the team was the namesake, a Panther or a gambler? I mean,
okay, well, now where's the dog sit in the hierarchy?
This is a question for spring stock. This is a question.
Fair enough.
And don't you think I'm not asking Jamar Smith this question?
You probably will
and
ask,
Bo?
like, can Stanley the Stallion beat Jersey General?
Yeah, exactly. These are the questions that need to be asked and answered. Spring stock. You don't want to miss it, guys.
I know Pablo will beat Ace. I have full confidence in that mascot. Get you a mascot like Pablo who has your back.
No.
Ace will sell you
off in
a card game. Keep that in mind.
I mean, making a lot of money. See, that's the thing. Ace doesn't even need to do it.
Yes,
He
make
doesn't
you a
even
lot
need
of
to
money.
take care of these problems. He's just going to pay someone else to do it for him, like the refs.
The thing
Sign
you should
us
know
up.
is he's got to know when to fold them, and he'll fold it week 1 because he's smart.
Get out of here. Get out of here with that nonsense.
I love that the league does mascots. I know some people last year I thought they had said it was cheesy. I'm like,
What?
really? I don't know. It's football Americana. Like that's part of the football atmosphere is having mascots. I think that I thought it was a smart play, and I think you did too. There were a lot of people that did. There were some folks that poo-pooed it. I'm like, no. This is what pro teams have. Most of them have. Pretty much all of them have mascots in the NFL. Pretty much all college football mascots are its own culture, for Christ's sake.
Right.
Minor leagues, for God's sakes. I mean, Jesus Christ, Birmingham, I remember earlier in the offseason, Stanley Stallion, he went to, I believe it was a squadron game. I could be wrong. Someone can mention this if you want, but they took a group photo of it was like Birmingham night.
Yeah.
Or it was BM night or whatever it was. And they got everyone together. It's like 7 total. That's minor leagues.
Right.
For itself. It's its own culture, man. There's trash pandas out in Alabama. That's a minor league baseball team.
I know, trash pandas. Sign up whoever wrote off on that one who said, yeah, we are going to call our team the Flippin' Trash Pandas. Sign them up, dude. That's one of my favorites. I want a trash panda hat one day.
My dad, here's one that you'll want, and actually it's in this town. I need to go to a game because of it. Scottsdale Community College. They're called the Artichokes.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that. That's funny.
Yeah, it's a real deal. Look it up. It's basically a little smiling artichoke with the flag.
Sign them up.
That's the icon. I'll have to if I can get a pic with the artichoke. I don't know what his name is. I'll have to send it out to you all at some point. But look, hey, we're here for mascots. You can go and put in your submissions right now. I imagine there's going to be a vote up either by the time this show drops or by maybe Monday after it drops. But you watch out for the vote. At least put in your name submissions down in the Showboats Twitter at USFL Showboats. Drop your replies. They're definitely listening. They'll pick the top 4, I think, most suggested or favorites among the staff. So you get a say, all you guys out there that are going to be going to the game. One other thing, I want to speak of the game here. Like I said, Memphis, we've been talking about the Showboats a lot this show, of course, but something I think that has played into a lot of what's been helping them out as of late, going to a Grizzlies game. We're seeing a lot more interactions as of this show. The Pistons, the Michigan Panthers have been going to a few more Pistons games. They went to one as well this week. We're seeing a lot more of exposure as we talk. Social and community engagement is huge, and that's a big key to season 2. You like to see it.
You think Hooper and Pablo hang out outside of these games?
Pablo seems like a guy that would have a lot of friends outside of the games. He's curious. He's new in town, technically new in town.
Yeah,
he was in Birmingham last year. He's relocated to his home.
I just hope Pablo's not leading Hooper astray, because we can't forget where Pablo got his name from. And so, Hooper, you're my boy. The Pistons, you might not be doing so hot this year, but that doesn't mean, you know what I mean? Stay on the up and up. Party Panther over there. He knows how to party. That's what we like to see. But anyway, I love the mascots. Yeah, I don't know. Whoever's poo-pooing on some mascots, you guys are crazy. I remember.
Well, think about this. Last year, people got on him, and I'm going, really? We're all going to, are we going to diss on Blob now? Blob's one of the best. One of the most memeable mascots in the league.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they run with it. They know it. They embrace it, as they should.
Right. Fits into the Philadelphia scene. They're all about weird mascots.
Right.
Blob's part of that community now.
And he's weird. Sign him up, though. And that's why we love him.
Ready for him to do hula again.
Yeah.
It's just a normal thing. Can't get enough of Blob. Need more Blob in my life. Anyway, let's talk about some partying. We also got a bit. You know what? I think we can do a whole section of this because I have another piece to add on to this. Stefan, it's time for another Speculation Zone. You ready for Speculation Zone?
Sign me up on some Speculation Zone.
Let's take it. Kick it. It's time for some Speculation Zone.
Nope, no Speculation Zone this week. We got some news. We got the scoop. Ref is back and sliding in a little bit of a clip here. Well, we talked to some sources and we got the skinny. Ring ceremonies are coming this Monday for the Birmingham Stallions. Now, I would have to say, keep a lookout on social media because we've been seeing the social media teams hit hot and heavy throughout the season anytime one of these big events happens. We've already talked about the mascot. We got a nice social push out of that. So I expect we're going to get the same from the players and the ring ceremony again this coming Monday, but it sounds like that's not all. This is championship time for these players. As you should know, the season is coming back. Again, less than 10 days now. The USFL is coming back. Spring stock is heading to Birmingham, but that's not it. Looks like there's going to be events lined up all throughout the week. Trophies going on a little bit of a tour of the town, so I'm assuming we'll see some more details as that comes up. And of course, Zach and I, we're going to be on the scene in Birmingham next week. So make sure you're following at USFL Podcast, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even TikTok, because we're going to be dropping all sorts of content. We might even drop some food reviews for that Crystal Burger, Eugene's Milo Burger. I know that's one that Zach and I discussed off the show, no curtains. But that's not it. I had to jump in. We have some more news as well. Let's just pull it up here. Hey. We got a new president in the USFL, and it's somebody that everybody knows and loves. That's Moose Daryl Johnston. So we know when the USFL kicked off in season 1, the president, Brian Woods, he came over from the spring league. He had since resigned over the off season. He said, you know what, it was just the right time. There's no bad feelings in between. We had speculated, Zach and I. Once was speculation zone, now confirmation zone. Once again, Daryl Johnston is now the president of the USFL. This story broke Thursday via Forbes. Zach and I, we actually recorded a little bit earlier than we normally do, Wednesday night, and this is what we get. We get the hot news. But here we are to talk about it anyway. So let's just run through the article. We're going to do things a little bit differently because I don't have Zach to banter with back and forth. But Forbes, let's see what they had to say on the situation. Daryl Johnston is the only NFL announcer in a national network who is also an executive in a sports league. That we know. And for year 2 of the USFL, which kicks off its 10-week season on April 15th. Sign you up. You should know that. Johnston was promoted to the league's president of football operations, like we said on Thursday. It's the USFL's highest ranking title, considering the league does not have a commissioner. Now, we've seen Daryl Johnston on the scenes all throughout season 1. We saw him in episodes of United by Football. He's not just making decisions on the highest level. He's out there on the scene putting in the work as well. I know I've joked about it. I've talked about it on the show. But we've seen Daryl Johnston pulling out bottles of Gatorade and water bottles and all sorts of things, loading up the trucks, getting things ready to go to get on the field. So we love to see this move. So let's just continue here. Johnston uniquely juggles his jobs with both the NFL and the USFL, which we commend him. So we have a little bit of a quote here. He's a really smart guy, always been well organized, says Kenny Albert, who was his NFL on Fox broadcasting partner for 10 years. So, hey, you would think he knows him. He has the in and outs. He goes on to say it's no surprise that success has followed Daryl around. Originally the league's vice president, Johnston assumed the USFL presidency after Brian Woods left his role to pursue entrepreneurial endeavors. Sorry, the ref can't talk. You're going to have to get over it. He oversees everything from scouting to video equipment and field conditions. Fox Sports CEO and executive producer Eric Shanks saw his announcer as a good fit in the upstart league's office because of Johnston's experience as a general manager of the San Antonio Commanders of the Alliance of American Football, so the AAF, back in 2018, as well as the director of player personnel for the XFL's Dallas Renegades starting in 2019. So this is something that Zach and I have talked about. So the USFL, one thing that they exceed very well in is having a league run by football people. And even more importantly, with Johnston here, he has a good breadth of knowledge and experience with prior spring football leagues. I mean, We've talked about it time and time again. If there's anybody that's seen the things that you need to do and not do to keep one of these spring football leagues alive, well, it's our man, Daryl Johnston, the now president of the USFL. So it continues. Those leagues ran into problems because of timing of starting during the pandemic, the illness that we shall not name, and the lack of necessary financial backing in the case of the AAF. But with Fox having a financial ownership stake, a reported $150 million over 3 big old years, the USFL is on better footing. Fox's involvement, of course, made its NFL announcer an obvious candidate, but working in the league's office or broadcast booth wasn't always a given for Johnston. After retiring from a decorated career in which he was the lead blocker for Emmitt Smith on 3 Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl championship teams, I know it's hard to believe that there was a time, but trust it, the Cowboys were a force to be reckoned with, and during that time, Moose was there. The fullback, nicknamed Moose, considered going into coaching. And you know what? I'm glad he didn't, because now we have him in this role. So let's see what else they have to say. He, though, had just started a family and knew the hours demanded from that job, so he opted for a football broadcasting career, which started in NFL Europe. So, although not technically a spring league in the sense of the XFLs, the AAFs, the USFLs, kind of one of those predecessors, one of those early success in the springtime for football. So let's see what Johnston had to say. I wanted to still be involved in it. This is what he exclusively shares with Forbes here. I love the game of football. It's given me more than I ever could have imagined. And I always feel like I need to be an ambassador for the game. As much as he enjoyed broadcasting, Johnston still missed the competition from his playing days. That led to front office roles with the Alliance and the XFL. Given that background, could Johnston become the next John Lynch, who went directly from a Fox announcer to a general manager of the San Francisco 49ers? Well, let's see. I could definitely see him becoming an NFL general manager in the very near future, Albert said. He's gotten so much great experience as one of the top executives in the USFL, putting the entire league together. So it's another interesting take on this, right? So we're looking at an opportunity for players, an opportunity for coaches, and now we could see this in a twist as an opportunity for an executive to take this role with the USFL and parlay it into something in the NFL. Now, I don't want that to happen, obviously, for selfish reasons, but I wouldn't be mad at it to see it happen. I mean, it couldn't happen to a more deserving guy, and he's proving right here with his work with the USFL that he can get it done. When asked about the possibility, the 57-year-old said he takes things day by day, contrasting himself to his former teammate Smith, a noted goal setter who jots down his personal objectives. Johnston then answers in a more spiritual way, I don't know what path God has in store for me to walk. So essentially, he's kind of taking it day by day, seeing where life will lead him. And you know what? You can't be mad at that. Currently, he relishes how the USFL positively impacts the lives of players like USFL player turned Cowboys return specialist Cavante Turpin, former MVP, mind you, by giving them another opportunity to play professional football. He goes on to say, what I got excited about was changing the trajectory of a young man's life. Playing on the Cowboys dynasty teams of the early 90s helped set Johnston's trajectory. The team was under such an intense spotlight that Johnston became used to dealing with the media, and broadcasting became a natural segue. It was kind of like an on-the-job training, he said. Johnston graduated from Syracuse and its Newhouse School, has produced many sports broadcasters, including his former partner, Dick Stockton. So either way, we got big news here. The season's kicking off, and naturally, we got the president to go along with it. Zachy and we speculated on this months ago when the news of Brian Wood stepping down came out. And again, it's just another situation where speculation has now become confirmation. Geez, I can't talk. You know, I think that's probably a good sign that we should kick it back to the past selves and get back to the regularly scheduled program. Sign you up.
That's another rumored thing going on. Our own Luke Miller brought up is that the Horsemen, the basically the fan base, the largest one for the Stallions that was recently formed this offseason, there's supposedly an event going on before the season at Avondale Brewing Company. I wonder, maybe that might be the connection. Not saying it is, because it's a speculation zone, but that's funny. Next week, Rings. Next week, Horsemen, the dedicated fan base. I wonder what that could be.
Yeah.
I'm not pointing fingers, but I'm maybe hinting you might want to look that way. Maybe follow some of those guys. They, if you know a Horseman member, you might want to start asking them some questions.
For sure.
And if maybe they're in the know.
And if you're a Horseman member, reach out to us. I think we want to talk to you guys too. So, hey, let's sign you up.
We definitely want to talk to you. Come to Springstock, by the way. Party's open. Casey's going to be popping. And
there's going to be plenty of time for a tailgate after the show. We're starting early. We're starting at noon, guys. So come hang out inside, because here's the real skinny. It's supposed to rain early in the afternoon. Come get some shelter. Hang out at Springstock, completely free, all ages. And then after that, tailgate to your heart's desire, and I'll probably join you, especially if you got I'll tell you, if Homeboy's out there doing those steaks again, man, I'll skip Springstock for that steak. I don't even care. That thing was delicious.
Man. Ray, that steak is stuck in his mind ever since summer stock. By the way, dude delivered an excellent steak. I can't wait to meet up with him and my guys over at the my own fan group as well. So they're a blast as well. I can't wait. Buck 'em, baby, as they say.
Sign them up.
And by the way, that should be the official one, I think, across the board. Say buck 'em.
Yes.
When you get a first down. Anyway, speaking of more stuff, so the Rings, okay, maybe a parade happens, maybe it doesn't. It's getting a little dicey. At least the Rings, let's hope for an event. Now, speaking of at least more league items, something else that came up this week, or within this past week, that I think has gotten some people's attention, has us having some questions. More trading talk card discussion.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen players signing, putting their signature, their John Hancock on, of course, plenty of the other various laminate, I would say seals, stickers, whatever you want to call it. That talk is buzzing up again because remember, we had seen similar things last year for possible cards. I think we're getting it earlier this year. I'm wondering if and when cards come out, do they come out during the season, or are we going to be waiting until, say, July at the end?
I hope they come out during the season. I feel like they might. And the only reason I feel like they might is because, like you mentioned, shortly after the season ended last year, we started seeing a couple of videos surface of players signing these overlays, getting them ready for training cards. Now they're doing it right now during training camp to get ready. So I would hope that maybe they're in process. They're a little bit closer. Now, who is going to make them? I have no clue, but my guess would be Topps. If only thing because Topps, they did the AF cards. They did the XFL cards, 2020 that is. So, they're not scared of doing the spring leagues. And if I would say, hey, you know what? Topps is Topps, right? They're maybe Fleer is close, but Topps is your brand when it comes to who you want making your trading card, especially because they have the weekly editions and all sorts of cool stuff. Trading card guys like Topps. I like Topps. I'm not a huge trading card guy, but I like Topps.
Topps is probably my guess too. If I am speculating as to who would be doing it. It's funny. I don't know too many other card companies. The other one that I always see is Panini. The guys that do a lot of the baseball cards. I don't know if they'll do them.
Isn't it
Topps
Pinnacle?
To be the one.
Is it Pinnacle? Is that the name of it? Panini.
It's Panini.
Oh, I don't know.
Panini.
I don't know.
Yeah, Panini cards.
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't collect baseball cards. Oh, I'm thinking of playing cards.
Yeah, Panini America. yeah. They're one of the larger. They're Irving, Texas, for crying.
I'm thinking of playing cards. So don't listen to the ref. Don't listen to me. But anyway,
you got Upper Deck, but they're more baseball. It'll be Topps. I think if they do it, just because of the stuff. But hey, a few options. My thing is, I think the other question is because people maybe you're a person that was a collector and you were waiting for that season 1 deck. Is do we get the cards too? Because I think that's something else. Is a lot of people were like, hey, we had seen stuff about these cards. They didn't show up last year.
Right.
Are we going to get them this season? I think we will. It's earlier. It's not as much of a rush. think about this last year again, less than a year to prepare a league, and some things might get lost in the shuffle. This year you have a whole off season. So, I'm thinking it does happen, but like, I get it if you're maybe a little on the fence, if you don't believe me,
right?
Or the ref here, or maybe you don't think the league will.
I think we'll see. I mean, clearly I think we'll see them, just because it wasn't just like speculation. It was league social people on their own personal channels being like, hey, look, it's guys signing training cards. I think even the official Maulers account on Instagram, because they're the ones that posted Boogie Roberts, and it said trading cards, a bunch of eyeballs there. So they're not hiding it. They're definitely teasing it up. Here's mini speculation zone. I think we do get them. I think we get them early in the season, and I do think it coincides with some type of weekly release. Like here's the week 1 editions. Here's 4 cards, maybe one of each team, maybe like the week's MVP or something like that, a big play, or us, the USFL podcast in the stand at the Grudge game, and it'll be you in your hands crying with me with a sign like, I'm eating free barbecue.
What'll actually happen is I'll give you my bucket hat so you can collect your tears, because I certainly as hell won't put them in. I need your tears to help grow my plants back in Arizona. I'll save it. It'll help nourish them.
There ain't enough tears in the world that could do that. But anyway, yeah, that would be my like ultra, like, and that's me wanting it to happen, speculation zone. So who knows if it will or it won't, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see them before the end of the season, right? Mm-hmm. I think the AAF, theirs came out the week before the bad news happened for them. So they didn't come out right away. But I think just the fact that they're teasing it on social media makes me feel like it's coming sooner rather than later. I mean, and look how fast we've seen them turn things around. They announced the jerseys, or at least the 2 new jerseys, and then they put them on sale, and then they're shipping before the season. So within like a 2-week span, they announced it and you'll get it in your hands, right? So, I mean, I feel like the same thing could happen here with the trading cards. We probably get it. Hey, week 1 trading cards, by the way, we're going to have these special edition cards every weekend, so you can pick up these 4. And so you kind of get like a 1-2 punch on the trading card announcement. And you know what? I hope they do. And I hope they have them in stores. I hope they have them at the games, because I'll pick up a box and maybe, hey, you know what? If they do, I'm not saying they will, but let's say we can get our hands on some next week. Let's do like, that'll be another little video we can throw out while we're in Birmingham, us unwrapping some trading cards, if they are going on sale and if they do have them at the event, because maybe we'll do that for, while you're paying for my barbecue, we'll open up the trading cards at the restaurant and stream it.
That's laughable. You haven't even made your order. I already know what my order is. It's
I do know my order. Barbecue Panther. We just need to find the place.
Wow, exotic meat. Okay. Good luck with that one. Final speculation piece, and I saved the best for last. We talked about this in the show, so not a total surprise because this was brought up thanks to courtesy of your very own Fox 2 Sports up there in Detroit and your old stomping grounds. As they've been keeping up with a lot of things, Mike Nolan himself kind of giving some hints at the season, and per head coach Mike Nolan, according to Fox 2 Sports in Detroit, the QB competition for the Panthers is down to 2 guys there. Obviously, a lot of people love Eric Berrier. I got some bad news for you. It doesn't sound like he is the favorite in this competition. So, hey, maybe some better luck if things are to give a chance for rotations. But for the starting QB spot right now, sounds like newcomer Carson Strong is going to be possibly facing off against Josh Love in a neck-and-neck battle for that week 1 start against the Gamblers. According to Fox 2, and according to this is brought up by News USFL, you should definitely follow that account. He's been great for grabbing news pieces as well independently. Sounds like it comes down to this. Love has the better grasp on the offense, while Carson Strong is the one with, by his name, the stronger arm. This is according to Fox 2 and head coach Nolan, according to that report, just saying. Speculation zone, though, is going to come down to, I think, a few QB battles around the league. I guess 2-pronged question for you on this. Who do you think's winning that battle in particular? And which QB battle intrigues you the most? If it's not your team, I'd be surprised, but it's definitely one that I'm looking at.
Well, okay, let's start with the first question here. Carson Strong, Josh Love. I'll say this. I think to start out the season, Strong's going to I think he's going to get the start. But I wouldn't count Josh Love out. We saw him a little bit at the end of the season when he moved away from the Maulers and for the Panthers, and the dude was pretty flippin' solid. I think he got a little bit banged up, and that threw off his momentum a little bit. But it was almost like night and day from his performance with the Maulers in the previous weeks. But I think Carson Strong's going to come in here, get the starting role to start the season out. But we've learned last year, Zach, just because you're the starter at the beginning of the season, doesn't mean you're going to be the starter at the end of the season.
Not at all.
Or either one of these guys. I mean, halfway through, it might be Eric Barriere that ends up leading the charge and balling out, right? Like, we did our quarterback rankings last year, and I mean, if we would have redid it halfway through the season or at the end of the season, a lot of the guys would have just been guys that weren't even in the rankings. Now, I do think this year is a little bit different. I think just because you have a lot of these guys coming back, and even the new guys. I mean, let's just look at Ryan Willis and McLeod Bethel Thompson. I would say those are like a nice caliber of guys to be coming into the league, right?
Yes, indeed.
So, and me, when I look at quarterback battles, I mean, there's a couple right there. We have the Showboats because we have Ryan Willis there, as well as a couple other guys that are no slouches by any means, right? But then in the breakers, you have MBT, Akil Glass. That I mean, that could be a competitive little breakthrough right there, to where maybe here's the thing: these coaches might not even be fully decided, to where we might see, which is not unheard of in the USFL, a little mixture. 2 QB play as you go through these games, just to kind of get a good feel. And maybe it's depending on the team that you're playing, right?
Right.
Because I mean, different quarterbacks, depending on who you're playing, there's conservative quarterbacks, there are quarterbacks that are going to ball it out, and that might work for or against you, to where I think we might see a little bit of that movement. And maybe that's some of the play that we'll see here out of the Panthers, because Josh Love, Carson Strong, like you mentioned, they both have their pros. They both, I wouldn't even say cons. They both have pros, but in different areas, right? To where, you know what, maybe week 1 you start with a Carson Strong, but week 2 you're like, you know what, this is a Josh Love game, right? And I wouldn't put it past them to see, especially in those early weeks. That's the time that you kind of want to experiment. You want to have by week 3-4 is really when you want to have everything kind of buttoned up so you can finish out that season. You don't want to be like a Roughnecks in the XFL right now, where you come out of the gate 4-0, but then you can't win anything beyond that.
Your first third of the year, with a 10-week season, you don't have time to buffer
right.
or anything like the NFL. You got to get going a little bit faster, and that's the story of any spring league. Credit, it's season 2, so this ain't like we're doing last year with year 1 where we're taking the same thing, but still. Even with returning players like a Josh Love or like a Daryl Johnston in this league, or like any of your other specialties, you gotta go.
Oh yeah.
10 weeks, it's a short year. It can go by pretty quickly.
Oh yeah.
If you don't take a moment to take in the fresh air once in a while. But yeah, first third of the year, 3-4 games in, like you're talking, I agree. You got to know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you, this QB battle with the Panthers, to me, well, I mean, shoot, man, I'm trying to see a much better year. I got to start off the year right with 1-0.
Unfortunately, you won't,
Houston
but
Gamblers.
You can hope.
Look, I still have questions about your guys' QB room. I'm curious who's starting for you.
It's going to be Kenji Bahar, superstar. He's going to lead us to victory. He's going to lead us to greatness. I mean, a threat in the air, a threat on the ground. It doesn't matter. 80 points, 90 points. Nothing is too many for him.
My favorite rhyme for this is Kenji Bahar, who won't go far.
Oh, come on.
Week one, he'll get back in his car.
Oh, no. It's really what it is. And I don't even want to reuse my jokes, but the truth is it's not even a joke. After the Gamblers get done with the Panthers, I feel bad for Carson Strong, because they're going to be calling him Carson Week for days to come. You know what I mean? Josh Love, maybe it's Josh hate. The fans are going to hate him for losing so much to the Gamblers. But you know what? You can't be too mad at these guys. It's a destiny season, 12-0, all in for the Gamblers.
Week one, and this isn't even talking about us winning, but week one, I'm going to be at McDonald's because I'm going to be loving it with Josh Love. I think he'll be starting week one for Michigan. Here's my deal. Season 2 to me, I'm looking at a lot of teams that are bringing back successful guys that are consistent with the system. Now, credit Mike Nolan is, of course, new HC, but they brought their OC back, of course, which is even more important. I think with Josh Love knowing the system right away, I think you go with the comfort food with Love.
Sure.
But I'm with you. If things past week one go sour, because they won't go sour week one, but if things past week one start kind of maybe teetering every now and then, maybe you start going to the strong arm Carson Strong. It's in his name for crying out loud. But dude's been putting on some good film. Like, I can see exactly why this is a debate in camp. He has been putting on highlight reel material. Like, it seems like every other day for Panthers camps over there in Ypsilanti. It's hard to not recognize that the guy came in and was going to be competing for this job. If he starts, I have no qualms with it either. I think that's a solid bet. I see both opinions on these players. But I do lean towards the guy that knows the system right out of the gate because he's had over a year to chill with it, and he re-signed, so he's been able to talk and kind of keep this going for a little longer. So I've got right now Josh Love. My favorite QB battle in the league, though, is like you're talking. I think it's the Breakers because so much about Akil Glass. Davis Cheek has his own core group of folks that I think people are rooting for him. Yeah. And what can you say about McLeod Bethel Thompson?
Right.
McLeod Bethel Thompson's son, MBT. There's not enough. All the CFL fans that love him and the expertise and the pedigree he brings, it's fascinating. That Sunday game, whoever steps out on the field, I have no qualms for whoever starts, but it's hard to pick.
Right.
Like Akil Glass had so much going for him, and a lot of people that are HBCU folks, they loved him. You win a freaking best player in the HBCU, you get put on a recognized list of players and talents. And that's what a lot of these leagues are designed for, is to get those lower level, I think, players that maybe don't get as much spotlight.
Oh, sure.
HBCUs, we've seen it in the USFL, XFL 2023. They're getting a lot shined on them.
Oh, yeah.
Akil Glass, this is his moment. I hope he gets a chance to get on the field this year.
I think he will.
Because
I think he will.
Whether it is with the Breakers or if things don't go his way, I hope that he gets a chance to go somewhere and play for a team that needs that film, because I think he could go somewhere and get his own starts as well. So we'll see.
For sure.
Not saying it's bad to have a QB backup like him, but when you got three guys that are competing like that, someone's got to be the odd man out. So that's the most fascinating one to me, because there's a lot of talent in that QB room. They got to pick one. You can't have them all. You can share. I know Skip Holtz has said he's going to share time with Magoo and Smith, but you can't always do that. I don't think you can really do it with those three. You're going to probably have to stick more with one. I think what's going to happen.
Sure. Well, and I'll just say this, McLeod Bethel Thompson. What an interesting name. Every time I hear it, it makes me think of like a Final Fantasy character. McLeod.
I think of Star Fox.
Well, maybe that's where I was getting it from. But either way, yeah, it's something like futuristic, something like that. And so I'm excited to just see too, because he's been in the CFL for a long time. And so it'll be interesting to see, does that translate? We've seen guys go from American football to Canadian football, and it doesn't always translate. So does the reverse, does it? Because, it's not like he's a slouch. I think a lot of people were surprised that he made the jump. And I don't know if it, outside of some of these, the niche crowds that we roll with, I don't know if it really, the impact has really been felt across as much as it should be, because the dude was an all-star in the CFL, multiple-time Grey Cup champion, consistently is on the top of the leaderboard when it comes to passing yards, touchdowns scored, that's what you want, right? And, the Breakers, they had a little bit of shakeup in the offseason. We've seen Kyle Sloter, he moved on. The coach has moved on. But boy, man, they are just, for all intents and purposes, Coach Flip is riding the ship, if you will, and he's got a stacked. I mean, it's a good problem to have when we're having this discussion on, man, there's 3 legit quarterbacks that they have at their disposal. That, do they keep them? Do they trade some and get some other pieces to their team? I mean, they have options going into this season. And if you're a Breakers fan that were worried because of some of the changes, I mean, I wouldn't be because they're looking pretty stacked right now. But we'll have to see who it is that comes out week 1 for that Breakers team. And like I said, Zach, we're going to be out on the scene next week in Birmingham, and you know who's sharing a hub with the Stallions? Well, that would be the Breakers. So, you know, we are going to be itching and scratching outside of Protective Stadium every day. We're there trying to get whatever news we can, and whatever we do, we'll be bringing it to you live or shortly after. So make sure you're signed up to the channels, because we're going to be all over that city next week.
Spring Stock Week is going to be incredible. I can't wait to get down there. Obviously, you're going to get down there early Tuesday. I'll get down there late Tuesday. But yeah, right around the corner. It's going to be fun stuff ahead. And we got plenty more coming your way for, well, what will be episode 53 for week leading in. And then remember, Spring Stock.
Oh yeah.
Saturday, April 15th, live in person at Casey's Sports Bar, South End Zone of Protective Stadium in Uptown in Birmingham. Great spot, by the way, to party. We learned last year. Wonderful thing they have done to that district in the city. It is a fun time, whether you're going to a game, whether you're going for drinks or food for friends. There's good stuff to do in Uptown in that section of Birmingham. So yeah, come on down. 12 Central to 3 Central, or that is 1 to 4 Eastern time for those guys that need to jump an hour ahead. Or if you're Pacific Coast, you know, you get up a little earlier, 10 a.m., but that's fine, man. Start your morning right with us and get leading in to that first of 2 games. That's a doubleheader on Fox for the USFL. Consider us kind of like a pre-show if you want. I think that's the best way we can put it.
Oh, yeah.
Your pre-game into all things week 1. And we're kicking off in Birmingham, Alabama, just like we did last year with a great list of guests. Bo Scarborough, Jamar Smith, Ducky, the community legend himself, who, by the way, Brett Zaleski bought one of those Legend Ducky shirts.
I love it.
He contributed to charity. That is a charity shirt. All that money goes to Feeding America?
Yes, Feeding America.
Yes, Feeding America. So keep that in mind. And we're also got Luke Miller, Jake Sanzel now from WBRC Fox, and maybe some more.
Oh, yeah.
Possibly too. So stay tuned to this channel. We got a lot coming up, and I think that's about it for us today on this show. Lots more ahead. Maybe some stuff that we won't get to because, again, we are recording a little earlier this week.
Yeah. Now, I did notice you skipped day 2, but I understand why, because the Gamblers, you know, you're already having early amnesia because of how much you're going to want to forget that day. But I get it. Day 2, 9 a.m. Central.
It's because I forget that your team is here.
Oh, come on
exactly
now.
Why.
Get out. No. But day 2, 9 a.m. Central, the Ref and Zach, we're going to be talking smack, and you ain't going to want to miss that. And come and join us at the game. I know you're out in Memphis. You might be saying, well, I'm not sure if I want to watch the away game. Well, we're going to give you a reason why, because we are going to be entertaining in the stands. And the game, I mean, it's going to be a glorious game. I mean, Kenji Bahar is going to solidify himself. He might throw, I'll make, you know, all in on the 75 cents
already?
right here. He's going to break the record, the all-time record for most passing yards and running yards for a quarterback in a single game, probably in the first quarter.
All right, then.
12-0.
You can live with that little fantasy if you want. I'm going to live in
wait till it's reality.
Live in the world of reality.
What if, Zach? What if we throw up 90 points against you guys?
What if he sacked 4 times and throws maybe 1 pick 6 to me? I would love to see that. I think that would be wonderful.
Well, you know what's great? He's going to throw a pick 6, but the Panthers defense is going to run it into the wrong end zone, and we're going to get the points. That's how it's going to go down. Know that. I've seen it in hockey. I don't know if I've ever seen that in football, but
it has happened. I am getting it up on here right now because I have to pull pull this up. It's because the NFL, it's very rare. I can't leave the show now without mentioning it because it's oh my goodness. Someone's probably screaming it right now as they're listening to the show. Hey, come on, man. Come on, you know this. And I know I'm going to know this. Of course, I'm failing me right now. I've got too much of the show left anyhow. But there it is. Jim Marshall. That's who it was.
There you go.
I knew it was good. I knew I had to click this. Yes. Good old Jim Marshall for the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, good. That's James's team. That's what's going to happen to your team now.
They call it the wrong way run. Did it in October 25th, 1964 against the San Francisco 49ers.
Good.
I knew I'd find it before the end of the show.
Well, good. I'm glad it's going to happen again. It's been a while. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you for the free points and a barbecue.
If you lose a bet, the bet would be score on your own team.
Wow. We'll see. We'll see how this all goes. But like I said, 9 a.m. Central, join us in the parking lot of Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium, day 2, April 16th in Memphis, Tennessee. Man, isn't it crazy? We started this thing out last year, 1 day Birmingham. Then we did Springstock, 2-day event, both in Canton. And here we are, Springstock 2, 2-day event. It's going to be fun. I can't wait. Either way, win, lose, or draw. What if, Zach? What if somehow it goes to overtime? It goes to like 20 rounds and it's a tie. I'll call it a win, and we'll just buy ourselves barbecue.
Yeah, I guess at that point we just go our separate ways, give a handshake, and go to a blues bar anyhow.
Yeah,
so.
we'll have fun either way. I don't think it'll happen, because if it does, in the off chance get to overtime, we're gonna rack them up, and we're gonna pick
all that
up
trash talk to compliment ourselves.
Yeah, right.
Good game.
We'll be like Canadians, we'll know what it feels like to be a CFL fan after the Grey Cup.
Oh no! No!
Oh, you beat me. Hey, good game.
I'm killing the show right here.
Right. Would you like a bite of my poutine? God, I wish they had poutine. I wish. Come on, sign us up. If anyone knows where to get poutine in either Birmingham or Memphis, Tennessee, let me know, because I will go there.
I'd love to see that in the comments too. There's another one of your things, guys. Drop in the comments. Let us know, where can we find poutine? Where do you want us to go in Birmingham or Memphis, especially for the barbecue? There's a little rivalry going on with the barbecue between the mayors. We talked last show. Mm-hmm. These cities, they're embracing that they're nearby. You start bringing out Southern barbecue talk and rivaling it, people are going to start throwing hands. Tell us where we're going to go for these, or maybe if we've gone, where we're going again, in the comments below, and we'll of course read up and post and reply as needed. But for now, guys, that's going to wrap it for episode 52 of the USFL podcast. Stick with us. We have another one coming next week either before or while we're in Birmingham. We'll figure out the details, but we are going to get a 53rd episode of the show. Wow, we're past this half-century mark, and it still is hard to believe of this show. 53 coming next week, possibly on location in Birmingham. We have possible special guests too, and we're trying to line up and get things sorted out. But keep posted on our socials. You'll see things as they come down. For my buddy, the ref himself, I am Zach Commons saying so long. Follow us at USFL Podcast on your favorite social platform. Subscribe on here on YouTube. And until next one, guys, catch you possibly at Springstock or on the stream April 15th. See you, everybody. USFL Week 1's coming around the corner. Let's get at it. Catch you next time.